welcome to DigiPort, and I hope you're all doing well. Okay, this is just a very quick update, I suppose. Firstly, on how we're transforming our business and moving over to a much better business model, which will suit our customers and followers more. And secondly, I'm going to give a brief live market summary. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and have a look at the market at the moment. I'm going to give some real proper explanations because I'm conscious that these are really mostly for beginners and those that are quite new to the industry. And I'm also going to have a look at some live charts and help with the understanding of the current market. This isn't technical analysis training. Okay, there's separate modules on that, but it's just an opportunity to give you a little bit of an update on the market as to where it is at the moment and how we would interpret the charts in a certain way, normally the wrong way. So I assume you have a few minutes available, so please watch the video to the end if you can. First up, this, well, it's 25th of May, and things have been pretty grim for most of us of late. So I just want to take a minute or two just to say, well, I'm posting this on YouTube and Patreon too, so I want to reach as many people as possible, including our new subscribers and beginners on this platform. So things haven't been great in the market. If you didn't know that, then just forget I said that. It's wonderful. If you did know that, then, things happen. I've been liquidated last week on quite a few margin trades. And also my investment portfolio was currently down 36.7%, approximately, exactly. So we're all having a little bit of pain. And with this, it's time to fall back on our faith, like it is in many points of life. And if you don't believe in blockchain, and if you don't believe and understand in Bitcoin and what it is, which is actually our first video on the beginner's course, which is more poignant now that you understand that. Okay, if you don't believe in that, then literally sell and run for the hills, because you're going to need it. If you do have that faith, if you do have that understanding, which hopefully you can pick up from the part of the course, then I don't know, take a deep breath, and it will turn around. Okay, faith moves mountains and lots more. Okay, so as I said at the start, we had previously run a more traditional model of training, education, and mentoring. However, now I want to migrate things over onto a more community-based model. So we're now only offering our new courses on YouTube and Patreon. So our 2021 Crypto Beginner course, for example, is now only going to be available on YouTube and Patreon. Okay. So in very simple terms, if you're not familiar with this, is Patreon, which is www.patreon.com, and this is our Patreon site, which is patreon.com/DigiPort, DigiPort. Okay, so I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with Patreon, but it's based on a very small, regular subscription, and absolutely no minimum terms or contracts. It's really, really cheap. It's to support the content, and you simply renew every month that you want to. Okay, anyway, let's have a quick look into the market, and we'll finish with those links later. Okay, so we're quickly going to have a look through a little bit of just market information of where we are at the moment. So on the basis that, as I say, we're still in the beginner's course, I will explain things properly. So if there are some people who've been in the industry for a while, don't worry about it. Sometimes it's useful to go over information. So I've just gone into coin market cap here. Okay, so this is, I suppose, where I would start most days, just to go in and just get a big overall picture of what's happening. Okay, so just from going along the top there, the market cap is $1.6 trillion. Okay, so first of all, I can tell that nothing very exciting has moved. And just to get into perspective, that was once almost $2.5 trillion. So you can see how much has been reduced over recent times. Okay, volume is 201 billion, but that is this is only at lunchtime on the 25th. Bitcoin dominance is 44%. Okay, so I'm just going to explain that to you. Okay, so Bitcoin dominance basically compares Bitcoin's market cap to the total market cap.
Now, why that's relevant is that you may have heard the expression of Bitcoin dominance, okay, which means that there are times when the majority of the whole industry, the majority of the entire market cap is Bitcoin. So obviously that becomes very, very dominant. Now, just to give an example, I think, just off the top of my head, I think it was January of this year. It was pretty much 70%. I certainly remember it being 69%, so it was certainly touching 70% in January just of this year. So that lets see just how dominant Bitcoin is, and then also just how dominant it isn't at the moment. And just to give the other extreme, in January 2018, it would have been closer to about 30%. So you can see there from two extremes, from two very different times in the marketplace, Bitcoin can go from 30% dominance to the absolute inverse and be 70% dominance, with everybody else taking up the 30%. Okay, so market cap, just again, so everybody knows what it means. The market cap on an individual coin, currency, or token is essentially the number of circulating supply multiplied by the price. Okay, so exactly the same as it would be in ordinary stocks and shares. So you'll see at the moment, for instance, the market cap for Bitcoin is 694 billion, almost 700 billion. Again, that was well over 1 trillion not too long ago. And as we've discussed in different videos, there's 18.7 million Bitcoin in circulating supply, although that might be slightly lower than that. And the current price, as at lunchtime on the 25th, is 37,243. So just one very important thing, guys, because I know when I post this, although this section of it's live, on the video's live, whenever I post it, everybody's going to be in different time zones. So I'll just be really, really clear, just to put a date and time stamp on this. Okay, so it's 13:30. It'll be 1400 hours on London time. Okay, so that's 2 p.m. London time. So you can work that back, I guess. Probably in the States, is whatever 6 hours off that, so or 7 hours. So I guess it's going to be whatever, 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning there or whatever. Okay, so just be very, very careful because people could be watching this 2 or 3 hours after. So this is the time. It's only valid at this exact moment. Okay, so that's really everything we're going to pick up from there. We're going to see the total market cap, which is just all of the individual market caps added together, the volume, and then the Bitcoin dominance. So those are things I would just look at straight away. So then just to run down, Bitcoin, as you see there, is at 37,000. So it's down 1% today and down 17.5% on the week. Okay, so not been a great week, or month for that matter, for Bitcoin. Okay, so it has got a little bit, it has come back up a little bit, and I'll go through that with you in a bit more detail in a few seconds. But you can see there, for instance, what makes the difference now between Bitcoin not having the dominance, because now you have Ethereum, for instance, going up almost 4%, and Bitcoin going down 1.5%. So, but having said that, Ethereum is nearly 30% down for the entire week. So Bitcoin has kind of recovered in a different way. But you can see there the lack of correlation. When Bitcoin dominance is high, you find Ethereum, Bitcoin follow each other, relatively closely. Okay, so after Ethereum, by the way, I'll go through these very, very quick because you've got quite a few of these stable coins. So Tether is basically a dollar, so you don't expect that to move. You want that to be $1. If that's moving around, okay, then it's not a very good stable coin. This is the coin you would use to buy other currencies rather than a pure dollar. So this is good that it stays exactly correct. Okay, Binance again is up 3%, although down 40% for the week. This is very much the case with most of them. Cardano, again, a bit disappointing today, down 30% or almost 30% for the week, and really no movement today. I'm trying to see if anything has really moved much. XRP, that was looking good for a bit, but it's Well, yeah, it's still actually it's up nearly 6% for today. So yeah, it's doing quite well. Again, the USD coin, that's a stable coin, so you'd expect that to be $1 and nothing else. Okay. Polkadot really took a big hammering this week. It was down, it's down 50%, really for the week, and down another 1% today. So I really thought there'd be a lot of buying in Polkadot today because that was a big hit it took. Okay, so I'm not going to run through all of those. Although I see Uniswap's up today, which is great news. Okay, so that basically gives you a quick sort of overview of the market. Yeah, so I hope that makes sense. We're just coming in. We've been able to see what the total market cap is, where everybody's sitting for the 24 hours and then the 7-day. Individual market cap, the volume in the last 24 hours, circulating supply, and then you get a little quick graph on each one here for the last 7 days. So I just find this very useful just to, come in the morning or whatever, have a quick look over this, and even throughout the day. It just gives you a quick overview of where everybody is. So hopefully, as well for beginners as well, I've explained everything properly there. 24-hour movement, 7-day movement, market cap, volume, circulating supply. All of this is covered anyway, to be honest, on all of the on the courses, but we'll do that. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So I'm going to jump over now, and we're going to have a look at the Bitcoin chart. Okay, so I'll just zoom out here a bit. So let me just change this here. We'll put this to 1 hour. Just 2 seconds, that refreshes. Okay. All right. So this is typically where I would come in to have a look and see, again, just what's happening with Bitcoin at the moment, because it's rarely been good news of recent. Okay, so just to pull out a little bit, you can see it's a very large down. I'll switch to the day one in a moment. You can see the bigger picture. So to say that we're looking sort of slightly bullish at the moment is really that we've got a relatively short uptrend, which is now reversing, it looks as well. But anyway, a very small uptrend in quite a big downtrend. Okay, so again, I won't get too bogged down in the charts here because it is covered in other courses, and you'd spend the rest of the day doing it. So what I'll be looking at coming in here are points that you can see here of resistance. Okay, so you can see that once again Bitcoin bottomed out here, I think with about 31,000, and here at 30,000. Okay, so really we're kind of looking at the moment for Bitcoin to get above certain markers. Well, I'll tell you how I would look at this first of all. Okay, so this section here is a Fibonacci retracement. Okay, so what we do here, or what I do, is I create various points of resistance. There are resistance that I'm expecting it to come across. So the first one would be our first break here in Fibonacci, which is basically about 39,000. So this is where I would be expecting a little bit of resistance, because quite often they would bounce off these particular areas here. Okay. So again, I'm not going to go into Fibonacci in any detail now. It'll be covered on other courses. Then secondly, I will be looking at 40,000, because generally what happens is that big round numbers always act as points of resistance on the way up. Okay, and again, when you look across, you'll see lots recently around that amount. Okay, and I think actually you'd probably see here something similar to what you're seeing at the moment, where it's making attempts. Okay, so the third thing then is this here yellow line here, which is your 200 EMA, I think that is. Is it EMA or SMA? Yeah, it's EMA. Okay, so this at the moment, as you can see, is sitting around 40,000. Okay, so this 40,000 is a biggie at the moment, because not only is it around some, it's also where the 200 EMA is at the moment. Okay, so again, I'm not going to go into any detail because it's all covered in courses, but the moving average basically is, this is a 200, Okay, so basically what it's looking at is this yellow trend line here is the movement of the previous 200 intervals. So if this is a 1 hour chart that we're looking at, which it is, then this is looking at the average movements for the previous 200 hours at every point along the line. Okay, so each one of these, red or green, represents 1 hour. So in every point along here then is the previous 200. Okay, so it also lets you see a trend, which you may have noticed is not up. But also it naturally, not quite sure how, but it naturally lends itself as a point of resistance or a point of support, depending on what side that you're on it. Generally speaking as well, if you're under it, you're in an overall downtrend, even though there might be an uptrend here. You're in an overall downtrend. Okay, so really, just from what I would take from this, okay, this is all really we can talk about at the moment. Is I'm in here looking at this. I'm saying one resistance point at 39, and then at least two at 40. So this is a tricky little spot that we're in here. All right, and it's really, really important for Bitcoin and for the whole market to get through this. I think once it bursts through, you know, you've maybe got another resistance around the 42 and another one at 44. But this is a biggie at the moment, okay? Because you've three lines to break through here. Now, as you can see this coming up, and let me just put a little quick line in here if I can. Okay, so this is our 40 here. It's 39,844 at the moment. Let me just get it up to 40. Okay. Okay, close enough. Okay, so that's our line at 40, and then this our line down here, not drawing another line here, okay, is your 39. Okay, so what you can see here is that, firstly, Bitcoin has been climbing up. Okay, this also, by the way, is a good, from what I like anyway, to see as a type of increasing, which is in steps. Okay, if you get an increase that goes straight up like that, okay, it hasn't been challenged and it's more than likely to drop again. When you get these little steps, what it means is it's had a rise, it's consolidated. It's had a rise, it's consolidated. It's had a rise, and it's consolidated. Okay, so it just makes it a slightly, for me anyway, I view that as a slightly stronger increase up to this 40,000. Having said that, it's tried one time, it was rejected at 39. It's tried two times, one and then two at 40, another one at 39, and then looks like it's given up. All right, so that's not good for, certainly for me anyway, because, you know, I really needed Bitcoin to break through this 40,000 and then head north. My what's called the DCA, but my average purchase price on Bitcoin, basically my DCA, is a lot higher than this. So I really need Bitcoin to get back up over the 40 again, and work its way up through the charts. But anyway, that just lets you see. I'm just one person. I'm sure there's a million other people who look at things in different ways. But as I would come into the chart, that's what I'll be looking at. I'll be looking at my RSI here as well, which is fine. Again, we will be covering this on other courses. The MACD I would normally look at, but to be honest, because this is an hourly chart, it really doesn't mean anything. It's moving around too much, so I don't really use my MACD on that, and the RSI on the hourly as well. There really aren't an awful lot of indicators that really you should work on hourly. Hourly for me just gives me a quick overview of what's happened since I went to sleep. Right, something I went to sleep at lunchtime yesterday. But anyway, okay, so that just lets you see, and part of being able to look at charts is if you look at that, you could look at it and go, geez, just a load of little green and red things. So the skill of reading charts is being able to look at that and just pick up immediately on those resistance lines of 39,000, of 40,000, and then the EMA 200, which is dipped down as well. So we really need to get over that EMA 200. We really need to get over the psychological barrier of the 40,000, and we really need to get over the Fibonacci retracement of 39,000. At the moment, we're back down to 37. Okay, so that's not good. Okay, but we have made 1, 2, 3, 4 attempts to break up, and when your dip, so this is really where it comes down. It goes up, comes down, goes up, comes down, goes up, which it just does all of its life. And when it comes down again, and the low points here are lower than the ones before. Okay, that's basic. What that means is, okay, so forget about shapes, because I've sent you a lot of people to look at things in shapes. What it means is that the bearish behaviour, which is trying to force the price down, has got stronger, or the bulls have got weaker. Okay, so essentially it's going lower. So when something is on an uptrend, you'll see these dips here. There's a dip, a dip, a dip, where obviously those retracements are. If they're rising, okay, that means the bearish behaviour, which is trying to push the price down, is getting weaker, and the bulls are getting stronger. So every time it goes down. Next time it only went down to there. Next time it only went down to there. Next time it only went down to there. Yeah? So that sort of makes sense. You can see then that's in an uptrend. And then it's lost its fight against 40. It certainly it won its fight against 39 for a bit. Lost its fight against 40. And now it's come back down now to around 37. It's making a little bit of a movement there, okay? But, all right, so that's how a chart can tell you a story, and at the end of that, that is a story, and when you get practiced with this, you can look at that and you can see this, a mile off, and you can see it quickly. You see all the points of resistance. On the other side as well, you see the lines of support, and when it's broken through lines of support. Okay, so just to pull out a little bit as well, there was another sort of a downward trend here. Let me just, okay, which we had broken out of here. Okay, so this was a positive that we had, because what basically we want to do whenever you create an uptrend is you want to create a higher high. So in this case, this high here, which was the last one on this dip, was around 36. And we've went right up over 39. So in some ways you've kind of turned this, and you can see that by the fact that it's broken out of this channel. And it's broken out of the channel, and it's confirmed it by basically having a higher high. So there's a little bit of a glimmer of hope. You can always tell a bull, we can always find a little glimmer of hope in the most miserable looking chart. Anyway, okay, so let's go out to the 1 day chart. Oh yeah, we're in the bull market. Okay, so you can see then again just the last this last little upturn. Okay, so we really needed a green candle today, because as you can see from this line here, we did break out of this big downtrend. We did break out of it, but we're back down in it again. We've got another. No, there's still time to go. Okay, and that's why the time of the day is important, because at the moment now, it's nearly 2 p.m. Now the American market's officially open, and I know there's a lot of American guys in the channel. The American market's officially open at 2:30, which is 14:30, 2:30 p.m., which I think is 9:30 then in America. So they're basically starting to waken up. Well, I guess they're already awake. Okay. So on the daily chart, the MACD still hasn't crossed yet, so it still isn't showing a completely bullish trend, which is quite correct, because you can see that it's come back. And the RSI is still very low, although it hasn't gone, at the moment anyway, it isn't under the 30, but it's pretty close. Okay, so one thing I noticed earlier on, I'll just go back to the hourly chart actually. Is there anything else of relevance there? You can just see the general movement of it. You can see the, this is the, I guess that's the 200 running on the daily chart as well. So, it doesn't matter what these are. They're all moving averages, and we're below all of them. All right. So, but anyway, some of them are pretty close. And, it would only take one good day now to keep us above this. All right, so let me just see. We'll go back to the hourly. Yes, one thing I noticed with the hourly earlier on, because I had it up on screen, was just really, and then really a lack of any volume here at all. This is the volume here at the top of this one. and really just a complete lack of any volume. I mean, you notice there even when there was, fairly, well, I suppose these are pretty reasonable dips, there were, good volume, but today when this was bouncing up and down, the volume was just nothing. So again, this is a bull trying to find a reason to remain bullish. When you get something that's reacting to good volume, to high volume, it's a much stronger. So if you've got it doesn't matter what direction it's in, but if it's a move with reasonable volume, then that's a good sign in whatever direction it's going. But there really isn't much if you look back across the different. So again, it's possibly been because, say, the US market hasn't come alive yet. They may well just come alive now and have a look at that chart and just buy it, because when you start to go sideways here, it starts to get a bit predictable, because a lot of the existing orders are already happening. So when something moves sideways for a long time, it actually takes intervention rather than orders. So it takes people, it takes human behaviour to move charts after they've gone sideways for a bit, rather than existing orders. So, in theory, the American market is just waking up, just having their coffee at the moment. So who knows? There could be there generally is quite a big move one way or the other. So it's going to be market sentiment. Is the American market going to say, oh, look, come on, just one more push, we'll get that up over 40 and we'll keep going? Or are the bears saying, yep, we've got them, and are they going to start selling and push it back down again? All right, and I'll tell you, there are arguments for both sides of this. But obviously it's bearish to say that it's going to drop again. And there's a lot of sentiment in the marketplace, that's going to happen. But on sort of a more positive note, last week, for instance, the market was the news was just awful, and some of the things. I mean, I was quite excited about the fact of how a news story can turn around in a week. The same story, but it can turn around in a week. Because last week, for instance, it was the hash rate down, the miners in China, some of them just packing up and closing their doors because of legislation, whatever. And, the hash rate and miner sentiment really does affect the price, So that was a story, Then suddenly yesterday, that has been turned around now. They're apparently, packing up all their stuff, moving to North America. And just yesterday, Michael Saylor, and also hosted a meeting with Elon Musk as well, with the North American miners to try and bring it across, and obviously with more sustainable energy. So that I think is just incredible how there's a spin on a story, and also when you've got people like Michael Saylor and Elon Musk sitting around a table together discussing with the North American miners. What an incredible story from the original story, which was that the Chinese miners are sort of closing the doors. Okay, there was also good news today from Goldman Sachs announcing they were setting up a fund and we're putting Bitcoin into a particular class. So that's a positive as well. So we've got to see that there is a little bit more positive sentiment in the marketplace at the moment. Alrighty, so that's just my take on it. That's the sort of thing I would come in and have a look at. So I just wanted to share that with you. It might all be different in a few hours, but there you go. Okay, we'll pass you back and catch up later. Take care.
Alright, well again, thanks to my evil twin, and I hope you found that useful. I would like to do these more regularly, especially with the Patreon and Discord groups. So please give the video a like if you find that content interesting. But most importantly, please hit subscribe and click on all notifications. Okay, so just to finish up with the beginner course, if you haven't seen this already, I'll put a link in the description below for the introduction video to the beginner course, which is basically, it's a 25-30 minute video that takes you through the contents of the course. Okay, and I'll also put a link to our Patreon page if I can get the link to work. So Patreon works in a strange way. So literally for £4.95, and that'll be adjusted for different currencies and tax and VAT or whatever. But with that, you have full access to our first course of 7 videos, plus all other new content that we add in the crypto space. Okay, so the previous beginners course, by the way, the one before we revamped it to this one, has sold over 600 at up to 199 points each. Okay, so this makes very little sense for us to sell this at £4.95. Okay, correct, it does make very little sense. But here's the reason. Okay, so I want to move over to a community basis, whereby we build a bank of postgrads, as you can see on the Patreon site, and also a group of probably around 20 doctorates as well in our second level groups, okay, who all share exclusive charts on Discord, and who also have 24/7 chat groups in all sorts of different subjects, obviously mostly crypto. They also get all the video messages, training videos, technical analysis reports, the fundamental details, chart effects, and also a regular update of how the market is reacting, and where it's going at the moment. Okay, so I want the group to be tight and and a loyal group of passionate but grown-up crypto investors, which is hard to find in a lot of groups. Okay, and I understand that some people will jump in, pay the $4.95, take all the content, and then leave. I get it. It's okay. It's not going to be a surprise to me. But I'm hoping that more will love the content and will want to progress and join and develop within the community. Okay, so the risk is all ours, essentially. Okay, so before you even think about it, our DigiPort group will be 100% non-toxic. Okay, so any rude or troll-like behaviour really makes me feel sick, and therefore it will be removed immediately, and I'll even give you a full refund. I just don't want people like that in our group. And I think you know what it's like. If people ask questions, they deserve to be answered properly and respectfully, and that will happen within the group. So just to clarify, it's okay to have a contrarian view. I do 90% of the time. I don't agree with most people, but that's no excuse for ever being rude or disrespectful to any other member in the community. So we have zero tolerance. All right, but having said that, the group is there. We do love to have a bit of fun and play around, and it's serious to the extent that the subject is serious, but the key is non-toxic. Okay, I think everybody knows what that means. So there we go. Right, so I'll be releasing this beginner course that we talked about there on YouTube, or you can just go over to Patreon now and join for that. So it's $4.95, and you could pretty much all the content straight away. At the moment, there's at least 5 or 6 videos updated. I think the last 1 or 2 we're still, doing them again for May because they originally done for January. So we're reshooting a lot of it and changing a lot of the content to make it relevant to today, or this month anyway. Okay, so at least 5 or 6 videos, which is pretty amazing value for $4.95. Okay, so the community is a priority, and we will include daily group chat with subscribers. We're probably looking at about an hour a day that we'll be on and helping in any way that we can. Regular market updates as well. Weekly Q&As. We're going to do a weekly Q&A video. We can also maybe do a weekly live video chat. So, but first of all, we're going to build this community. Okay, so I'll let you know, how that's going to progress. But anyway, please like and subscribe to the video. Share it with your friends and visit Patreon now. Okay, there's a link down below. It's patreon.com/DigiPort. Okay, should be on the screen. Anyway, just in case you're not familiar with Patreon, it has over 6 million patrons. Okay, so you'll be in very good company. Right, anyway, thank you ever so much for your time. I truly appreciate it. We're dedicated to bringing you professional crypto training and mentoring, so to maximize your crypto ambitions. Okay, take care. Speak soon. Ciao.